Okay, so we are live, but I am actually going to get the stream out because I want to talk about this. Oh my gosh. I can't believe what happened. I'm at a loss of words. I'm at a loss of words. Just give me a second, and then I'm gonna wait for people to come on in. Oh my gosh. I honestly am very, very shocked at what happened. And this is my review, my thoughts on this year's Royal Rumble. As I said, if you watched my prediction video yesterday, I did say that this Royal Rumble was going to be different this year, seeing as how it was going to be in the Thunderdome and it wasn't going to be live in front of live and in person, like people actually being there in person. But oh my gosh, you wouldn't. Okay, so as far as my predictions for the pay-per-view, I didn't end up tuning in to the Royal Rumble until the Women's Royal Rumble was just getting started. So I was keeping up the track with what Nathan Stapleton was putting in a group chat on Discord. So the first few matches were, let me actually take a look here. So as far as the Intercontinental Championship match between Sami Zayn and Big E, Big E won retained the title. The United States Championship match between Bobby Lashley and Matt Riddle. I didn't see those because I think those are on the kickoff show, and I have a feeling that Riddle lost, and obviously Lashley won. So those two predictions pretty much done and out of the way. But the one that I called, there's a few actually that I called straight down the middle. The Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler versus Asuka and Charlotte Flair tag team match. I called that straight down the middle. I called that Ric Flair and Lacey Evans were going to get involved and cost both Flair and Asuka the tag team titles and have Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler win them. And that's exactly what happened. Drew McIntyre versus Goldberg. I kind of figured that this one would be a typical like Goldberg style match where it would just be nothing but finishers with claymores and spears and future shock DDTs and jackhammers. I didn't really watch the match. I didn't even see it until I didn't see it yet. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to catch up on everything and when the stream is over. So remember, I started watching when the Women's Royal Rumble was just getting started. The Sasha Banks Carmella match with a SmackDown Women's title. Sasha Banks retained. And then the Women's Royal Rumble match. My prediction to win the Royal Rumble match was Bianca Belair. I was not expecting her to enter in at number 3, however. I thought it was going to be a little bit later on in the matchup. But she managed to outlast a lot of other people. So you take, for example, legends like Tori Wilson, Mickie James, I already said Tori Wilson. Who was it? Who else was it? Victoria? I don't know. And also Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, Tamina, which I found out through watching the match that she didn't end up winning the match to winning her match against Natalya to become the 30th entrant in the Rumble. She was number 25. So I was wrong on that. But that doesn't count because that's not a part. That wasn't a part of the pay-per-view. That was not a part of the pay-per-view tonight. So that was last night on a backstage exclusive. So anyways, but it came down to Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. Honestly, with the way that Rhea was going about this match, I thought Rhea had this in the bag. I thought she basically was going to use all that power, that aggression that she had, and that has been mustering for probably months now. And, I thought she was going to win. I even thought that Charlotte was going to win 2 years in a row. And I was begging for that not to happen because Charlotte, there's nothing against her. I've got nothing against her. There's nothing bad I've got nothing bad to say about Charlotte Flair. She's a really good worker in the ring. However, I kind of feel like that because of her name, she gets handed a lot of things. And that, again, no disrespect to Charlotte. But Lacey did also get into the head of Charlotte Flair, which did later catch up with her later in the match where she was the third to last competitor eliminated. And then it came down to Belair and Ripley, which that's past rivalry, and Bianca Belair won the Women's Royal Rumble from number 3. From number 3. You could last that long, but I don't know what else to say about that. But anyways, so moving on, we have the Universal Championship match between Kevin Owens and I forgot to mention something funny about the Women's Royal Rumble, like right in the middle of it. Alicia Fox made her return to the ring, and then R-Truth about 10 seconds later followed. And then in the midst of the Women's Royal Rumble, Alicia Fox won the 24/7 title. That honestly was probably something that was pretty funny to me. Probably the funniest thing I've ever seen in any Women's Royal Rumble. That was good though. But back to the Universal title match, the last man standing match between Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens. Those two, they literally gave it their all, honestly. And I thought for a second, there was a part of the match where Kevin Owens, he ended up getting away from Roman Reigns, trying to catch his breath. But he ended up going outside of the Thunderdome into the actual arena area. And there was a ring, like smack dab, like outside of the Thunderdome. And I thought they were going to climb into that for a second. But then from out of left field, and I was not expecting this at all, Roman Reigns just enters the shot from the right side in a golf cart. I'm not making this up. He drove a golf cart straight through Kevin Owens. Oh my gosh. I've never seen anything like that before. Well, okay. That's a lie. Sammy Guevara. And who else was driving the golf cart? Kenny Omega, Matt Hardy. I think those are the only other two people that were in the golf cart when they hit Sammy Guevara. But the only difference between that was Sammy Guevara got hit while he was running away from the golf cart. Kevin Owens just got straight up run over by the golf cart by Roman Reigns. So the two angles that were pulled were very, very similar in some ways, but also different because of how the angle unfolded. Anyways, so they end up kind of slugging it out outside of the Thunderdome. They end up working their way back into the Thunderdome, and Roman Reigns comes out with handcuffs. He nearly cuffs Kevin Owens to a beam, and it looked like that Owens was going to win the match. However, just as the ref was about to count to 10, he was at 9, I believe. Reigns just freaking grabs him by the collar and just yanks him into another beam and knocks him unconscious. And then Paul Heyman comes in. He undoes the handcuffs from the beam and also from Roman, and the rest is pretty much history. And well, actually, no. The winning moment of the match for Roman, which Roman did win the match, is that he basically put Kevin in a submission hold and knocked him unconscious in the process. And Kevin Owens was not able to stay up, and Roman Reigns, last man standing, and beats Kevin Owens for the third time in a row. Luckily, however, nobody really interfered. Aside from Paul Heyman coming along and undoing the handcuffs off of Roman, like, there was really no physical interference. Like Jay, I think it's Jay. Jay Uso didn't come out. He didn't like attack Kevin Owens. Paul Heyman didn't really do anything to Kevin at all, other than he helped Roman win. That's really it. And then we get to the men's Royal Rumble. Oh boy, I kind of wasn't expecting the start of the match to be as chaotic as it was. I thought Orton was going to enter at number 1 and Edge be number 2. But boy, I was wrong. It was the other way around. It was straight up the other way around, with Edge number 1 and Orton number 2. Edge wasted how much time? No time at all. He went under the ring. He went after Orton and basically just slaughtered him before having like a 3-on-1 assault take place with Sami Zayn, which honestly, I think Sami Zayn kind of looks like he's seen better days, but he still can perform pretty well in the ring. Aside from the fact that he does look like he's a homeless person, but I mean, I'm just saying that's what he looks like. No disrespect to Sammy. And then Mustafa Ali comes along. Then it's a 3-on-1 assault. And then eventually Jeff Hardy comes in. And to Ray's point, I didn't really like of all people, they eliminated Jeff Hardy first. I disagree with that. And I feel like he should have stayed in there for a little bit longer and then get eliminated. But it is what it is. So, so as the match goes on, Edge kind of still has that little bit of fight in him. A big surprise to me was Randy Orton. One big surprise to me was Randy Orton was injured. He was helped, technically kind of injured. He was helped to the back, and as he was being helped to the back, I didn't really expect this, but Carlito made a return to WWE for the first time since 2010. I think since 2010. But he actually did really good. And when I saw Carlito, I'm like, oh my gosh, Carlito is in the best shape of his life right now. Carlito is in the best shape of his life. And then you got Damian Priest who came in. I mean, like the ring started filling up. Kane surprised me. Kane was another one that surprised me as entering his 18th Royal Rumble at the number 18 spot. And then Team Hell No kind of reunited for about 5 seconds, and then Kane delivers the chokeslam to Daniel Bryan. I'm not going to go over everything in the match. I'm just kind of going over blips. But another thing that was just like that caught me way off guard, and I think they caught a lot of people off guard as well. Christian making a return to the Royal Rumble. Now, at the same time that Edge is still in there. Edge was never eliminated. At that particular time when Christian came to the ring. So I was in awe when I saw Christian come to the ring and was like, oh my, he's back. Christian is back. Oh my gosh. This is unbelievable. So they actually did pretty well together. Another thing that kind of caught me by surprise was Seth Rollins making a return for the first time since Survivor Series, I do believe. And then Braun Strowman comes in last. And I'm thinking, all right, that's it. Braun Strowman enters the number 30. It's over. Easy win for Braun, right? Well, eventually you've got some other people that get eliminated. Matt Riddle gets eliminated later on. And then it comes down to the final four being Rollins, Strowman, and Christian, Edge. The final four that were in the ring. And then you think that Strowman and Rollins are going to have an alliance together, but then Strowman doesn't want any part of it. He tries to throw Rollins out. Edge almost gets thrown out later on, and then Christian tries to help out, and Seth tries to get him out. But then in the process, Christian, all three, Christian, Strowman, and Rollins get eliminated. And I thought Edge won at that time. It looked like they won, but then Orton comes out of nowhere. So really, in actuality, this kind of reminds me of 2015, where you thought Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble. Then Rusev pops up out of nowhere. He has a little bit of a second win, but it's kind of like a false win, if you know what I mean. And then he gets thrown out. And then Roman Reigns won. But in this case, they kind of did something similar to that, where Randy Orton, it's just like, oh my gosh, Orton comes up out of nowhere. It's done. It's over. But I was like, oh my gosh, Edge won the Royal Rumble. And I predicted Edge would win the Royal Rumble. Because if you had listened to his promos, if you listened to his promos, if you know his story, you would have an idea that Edge would win the Rumble and possibly have a shot against Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. I have a feeling that he's going to go after McIntyre at WrestleMania and win back the world title. That's just a guess of mine, and that's an early prediction. But we have no idea if McIntyre is still going to be the champion between now and when WrestleMania comes around. So one way to find out. Oh my gosh. Man. Either way, I got every prediction except one correct. every single prediction except one. Man, I didn't really expect the pay-per-view to unfold that way, but this year's Royal Rumble, for what it was really good. Trust me, it was really good. So if I had to give this a grade, definitely an 8 out of 10. An 8 out of 10 in my book for this year's Royal Rumble. Or maybe, actually, I'm going to up that because my boy Edge won the Royal Rumble. 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 in my book. This year's Royal Rumble was actually really, really good. I'm super happy with how the results turned out. Not because of my predictions, most of my predictions, like 90% of my predictions getting correct. Or 99, let's put it that way. But just of how everything unfolded. That's really all I have to say. Is just, my gosh, this pay-per-view, the first pay-per-view of the new year. It was a banger. Definitely a banger, I can tell you that. But who would have thought? Last year, Edge makes this unexpected return to wrestling in last year's Royal Rumble. He nearly wins, but gets eliminated by Roman Reigns. And then 1 year later, he enters the Royal Rumble as number 1 and outlasts 29 other people and wins this year's Royal Rumble. I'm at a loss of words. I think I'm gonna go to bed happy tonight. I'm gonna go to bed happy tonight. This is a really good end of the night. But also, switching to some racing news briefly. I did miss the Rolex 24. I kind of kept up to date with it. Wayne Taylor Racing won for the 3rd year in a row. Yeah. Yeah. Looks like he did win. Looks like Wayne Taylor Racing won the Rolex 24 again this year, which, good job to them. That's actually really awesome. But anyways, the road to WrestleMania has begun. It is up to Edge on what title he wants to go for, whether it be between Roman Reigns and the Universal title or Drew McIntyre with the WWE Championship. I am going to make a prediction that tomorrow night on Raw, Edge is going to go after the WWE Championship. I'm calling it. I am predicting that right now, that Edge is going to go after the WWE Championship as this road to WrestleMania ends tonight. But that's it for me. I really hope for those of you who did watch the Royal Rumble, enjoyed it for what it was. If you didn't, there's probably those 50-second highlights that WWE puts up after the pay-per-view. So if you want to watch, if you guys watch those, great. Or if you listen to other podcasters talk about the Royal Rumble, you feel free to give it a listen. But if you don't want to, but if you want to avoid spoilers, that's up to you. So that's about it for me. Thank you guys a lot for watching. If you guys like the video, go ahead, give it a like. If you have not considered subscribe yet, recommend you do so in order to keep up with some fine content coming out in the near future. And that about does it for me. Have a great rest of your Sunday night. Have a good, safe week. There will be videos coming out this week, going into February. And hopefully February actually does turn out really good. But anyways, thank you guys a lot for watching. I'll see you later.